Marcus Hale stepped off the shuttle with a tired sigh, rubbing the back of his neck as he looked at the tall silver building in front of him. The sign read Interspecies Housing Initiative, South Block. He checked the address on his datapad again, even though he already knew it was correct. This was going to be his new home for at least 1 year. 1 full year with an alien roommate. Marcus had not been excited about joining the program. But he needed credits for his engineering courses, and the program paid double the amount of any part-time job he could get. So he had signed up. Even though all his friends had told him he was crazy, he walked through the automatic doors, and the cool air hit him with a soft hum. A tall robot floated toward him with a screen showing a friendly smile. "Welcome, Marcus Hale," the robot said. "Your assigned residential unit is 38B. Your roommate has already arrived." Marcus paused. Already. "Yes, please enjoy your shared living experience." Shared living experience. Marcus didn't know if that sounded comforting or threatening. The elevator ride was quick. The doors opened to a quiet hallway with glowing blue lights. Unit 38B was near the end. He stood in front of it for a moment, adjusting his backpack and taking a deep breath. He had read countless articles about different alien species, and most were peaceful. But peaceful did not always mean easy to live with. All right, he told himself, just be polite, be patient. Survive 1 year, and leave with enough credits to pay for next semester. He placed his palm on the scanner. The door slid open. The moment Marcus stepped inside, he froze. The living room looked like a science lab had exploded inside it. Strange machines buzzed and blinked. Tubes filled with colorful liquids lined the walls. A large circular device hummed loudly in the corner. Several tanks full of bubbling gel sat beside it, glowing faintly. And at the center of everything stood his roommate. Or at least. Marcus assumed that was who it was from the program description. The alien stood about 7 feet tall, with long, graceful limbs and smooth silver skin that reflected light like polished metal. His eyes were large and dark, shifting slightly like liquid when he moved. He wore a white research coat that somehow fluttered even though there was no wind. Rilshar turned slowly. When he spoke, his voice sounded layered, like 3 tones speaking at once. "Human Marcus Hale. You are early by 19 minutes. Efficiency rating improved." Marcus blinked. Thanks." Rilshar lifted a long, thin device and scanned Marcus from head to toe. A small blue light blinked. "Physical structure stable. You may proceed to inhabit your designated space." Marcus hesitated. "Right. Yes. Thank you." He closed the door behind him and walked inside carefully, making sure he didn't knock anything over. "So, what is all this?" Rilshar's dark eyes lit up. "My research. I am conducting a study on human self-propagation, behavior, and replication patterns." Marcus frowned. "Self-prop, wait." He pointed at the humming machine. "What exactly are you studying about humans?" Rilshar stood a little taller, clearly proud. "Human breeding." Marcus choked on his own breath. What? The alien tilted his head. "Breeding. Creation of additional humans. Multiplication patterns. Biological generation. Your species is quite fascinating." Marcus felt his face heat up. He held up his hands quickly. Okay, wait, I think there's been a misunderstanding somewhere." Rilshar blinked. "Define misunderstanding?" "Well," Marcus said slowly, "humans don't create new humans using machines." "Incorrect," Rilshar said confidently. "My research shows humans generate new bodies through environmental manipulation, nutrient restoration, and the careful placement of biological material inside energetic growth chambers." Marcus stared. "Where did you learn that?" Rilshar turned and tapped his data tablet. "Historical archives, OpenNet videos, and a human comic series titled Clone Wars Adventure. All highly informative." Marcus closed his eyes. "Oh no," the alien continued proudly. "I have already begun human replication trial number 1. Observe." Before Marcus could stop him, Rilshar walked to the large humming device and pressed several buttons. The machine glowed brighter, and the tanks of gel bubbled faster. A loud hum filled the air. Marcus panicked. "Wait, is that thing dangerous?" Rilshar looked confused. "Dangerous?" No. It is a simple multi-phase energy reactor designed to accelerate cellular structure growth. Perfectly safe. Marcus nearly dropped his backpack. 92. Yes. Not safe. Rilshar tilted his head again. But I've good results so far. Look, he pointed to a small, clear container on the table. Inside was a hair. One single hair. Marcus looked closer and realized it looked suspiciously like one of his hairs that might have fallen near the door. Rilshar. Marcus said carefully, "Why is my hair inside that thing?" "Ah, yes." The alien folded his long fingers behind his back. "I believe human breeding begins with a discarded biological piece. A hair, a nail fragment, or a drop of skin oil. I collected the hair sample from the entrance. You shed it naturally. Very efficient." Marcus's brain felt like it was melting. He pointed rapidly at the machines. "Hold on. Stop everything. Humans don't grow new humans from hair strands. That is absolutely not how it works." Rilshar's eyes widened. "Truly, yes, truly. But your species regenerates. Limbs, correct?" "No. What gave you that idea?" "I watched a series of human digital films where heroes lose limbs and grow new ones. That's special effects." Rilshar blinked. "Effects that are special? It means they're fake." Rilshar stared at his machine again. For the first time, he looked unsure. "But my calculations indicate hair contains genetic information." "Yes, but that doesn't mean you can grow a whole human out of it. You need a lot more, and even then, it's incredibly complicated." Rilshar fell silent. Marcus took a deep breath, trying to calm himself. "Okay, we really need to talk about your research. And we need to shut down this machine before something explodes." Rilshar straightened suddenly, almost offended. "Explodes? Possible. My reactor is very stable. The lights in the apartment flickered. The machine hummed louder. The gel inside the tanks vibrated dangerously." Marcus screamed, "Turn IT off." Rilshar pressed several buttons rapidly. Energizing. Energizing. The machine sputtered, sparked, and then finally powered down with a low whine. Silence filled the room. Marcus exhaled shakily. "Call that stable?" Rilshar looked at the machine thoughtfully. "Perhaps there is room for improvement." "Perhaps." Marcus repeated in disbelief. Rilshar turned to Marcus again. "Human Marcus Hale. I requested a human roommate so I could study your species accurately. Human breeding appears more complex than expected. I may require your assistance." Marcus stared at the alien's hopeful expression. Rilshar was brilliant, clearly passionate, and completely wrong about almost everything related to humans. And now they were going to live together. Marcus dropped his backpack on the couch and sat down, rubbing his face. "Okay, I'll help you. But you need to promise me one thing." "What is that?" "No experiments on me? No machines? No reactors? No growing clones from my hair?" "Nothing." Rilshar placed a hand over his chest. "Very well. I will not conduct experiments on you without permission. And no more turning the apartment into a breeding lab." I sure hesitated. "May I keep only 2 machines?" "No." "1 machine?" "No." Rilshar sighed, a sound that echoed like metal bending. "Understood. I will reduce my equipment." Marcus nodded, relieved. "Good, we're going to need some ground rules." Rilshar brightened again. "Ground rules. Excellent. I enjoy rules. Shall we begin with rule number 1? Marcus looked at the mess of tubes and gel tanks and felt a headache forming. "Rule number 1. Nothing explodes." "Logical rule," Rilshar said. "And rule number 2. No cloning, no breeding, no replication. Nothing like that." Rilshar looked disappointed but nodded. "Agreed. And rule number 3. Marcus paused. "We try to live like normal roommates. Clean up, share space, take turns cooking." Rilshar seemed confused. "Psst, but I do not eat." "Well, then you take out the trash." "Ah, I can do that." Marcus leaned back on the couch and sighed. "Okay, maybe this won't be so bad." Behind him, however, a small, forgotten tube on Rilshar's table began to glow faintly, reacting to the leftover energy in the room. Rilshar didn't notice, Marcus didn't notice, but the story of their strange, dangerous, and unbelievable year together had only just begun. Marcus woke the next morning to a strange sound coming from the living room. It wasn't the gentle humming of a machine. It wasn't bubbling gel or clicking metal, or any of the usual noises he had heard since moving in. No, this sound was worse. It was humming. Happy humming. Marcus sat up in bed, rubbed his eyes, and groaned. Rilshar only hummed when he was excited, and excited Rilshar meant something dangerous was happening. He walked out of his room and found the alien in the center of the living room. Holding a datapad in one hand and a strange antenna device in the other, the tubes and gel tanks had been pushed to one side, but they were still active. Glowing in soft colors, Marcus placed his hands on his hips. Okay, what now? Rilshar spun around, his silver skin catching the sunlight. Ah, human Marcus Hale. Excellent timing. I have made progress.
Ow.
Marcus froze. Progress on what? You promised no more breeding experiments. Oh, of course, Rilshar said innocently. This is not a breeding experiment. This is safety research. Marcus neared his eyes. Safety research. Yes, Rilshar said proudly. I am ensuring my reactor will not explode again. You gave me rule number 1, nothing explodes. That was kind of the point, Marcus muttered. Rilshar tapped his datapad excitedly. So I have designed a new energy-stabilizing antenna. It will keep all other machines safe while I continue studying human biology. Marcus felt a chill. Studying human biology? How exactly? Rilshar held up a small capsule containing a cotton swab. I collected more samples. Marcus's voice jumped an octave. From where? Your toothbrush, Rilshar answered casually. Rilshar. Marcus groaned, dragging a hand down his face. You can't just take things from my room, but you shed material. It is valuable biological information. No, that's my personal stuff. Rilshar paused, tilting his head. Humans are very territorial about small objects. Very. Marcus took the toothbrush sample away from the alien and placed it firmly on a shelf. He then checked the machines. Fortunately, nothing looked like it was about to explode. Unfortunately, everything looked like it could explode if someone sneezed too close to it. Marcus sighed. Okay, explain slowly. What are you trying to do today? Rilshar corrected his posture as if ready for a presentation. After the reactor incident yesterday, I analyzed all data. I discovered the energy surge was caused by incomplete genetic material, because it was just a hair, Marcus reminded him. Rilshar nodded seriously. Yes, but I also discovered this. Human material reacts strongly with high energy fields. Very strongly. More strongly than any species I have observed. Marcus frowned. Meaning, Rilshar said, eyes glowing. Humans are naturally compatible with multidimensional fields. Marcus blinked. Multidimensional. What? Rilshar leaned in. Your biology is special. If exposed to the right energy, human cells can expand, multiply, or even warp reality. Marcus stepped back. No, absolutely not. Humans do not warp reality. Rilshar looked confused. But you created thousands of digital stories about humans doing exactly that. That's fiction. Ah, Rilshar said, nodding slowly. More special effects. Yes. Marcus threw his hands up. Rilshar studied him thoughtfully. Then the only logical conclusion is that humans create fiction because you want to warp reality. It is an instinct. Marcus stared in disbelief. No, please stop making conclusions about my species. But the alien was already typing rapidly on his datapad. The humming machines behind him powered up. The apartment lights dimmed slightly. Marcus's heart skipped. Rilshar. What did you just turn on? The stabilization antenna, Rilshar replied calmly. I will test how a harmless energy field interacts with your atmosphere. No human samples involved. Only physics. Marcus exhaled, relieved. Okay, that sounds safer. Rilshar smiled with 3-layered tones. Excellent. Please stand back. The test begins in 10 seconds. Marcus stepped behind the dining table, gripping the edge nervously. The antenna rose from Rilshar's hand, floating into the air. Lines of light shot out from its sides like glowing strings. The air vibrated softly. A small sphere formed in the center, pure white, swirling gently. Rilshar typed rapidly. Stabilizing. Atmospheric scan. Adjusting wavelength. Marcus watched, holding his breath. For a moment, everything looked stable. Then the sphere suddenly pulsed. Rilshar's eyes widened. Unexpected reaction. Marcus felt the hair on his arm stand up. Unexpected good or unexpected bad? The sphere pulsed again, harder. The lights in the room flickered. Rilshar spoke quickly. Human Marcus Hale, please remain calm. The device is reacting to your presence. My presence. I'm across the room. The sphere pulsed a third time, man, this time. Shot a thin beam of white light directly at Marcus's chest. He yelped and jumped aside. The beam struck the table instead, leaving a perfectly round hole in the wood. Marcus stared. Calm. Turn it off. Rilshar frantically tapped his datapad. Attempting deactivation air energy feedback rising, the beam shot again, slicing the air with a high-pitched crack. Marcus dove behind the couch. You call this safe? Rilshar shouted back. It is only dangerous to materials with human-based molecular structures. Marcus stared in horror. I am human-based molecular structure. Rilshar blinked. Ah, correct. Noted. The antenna rose higher, spinning. The sphere grew larger and brighter. Beginning to bend the space around it slightly like a wobbling bubble, Marcus peeked over the couch. Rilshar now. Rilshar slammed both hands onto the datapad. Overriding protocols. Collapsing field. The sphere pulsed violently, then boom. A blast of white light filled the room. Marcus shielded his eyes. When the light finally faded, he slowly lowered his arm. The room was a disaster. The couch was smoking. The table had holes. The ceiling had a spiral burn mark. One of the gel tanks had fallen over, spilling bright blue goo onto the floor, and Rilshar stood in the middle of it all, blinking calmly. I believe the alien said softly. There may be more room for improvement. Marcus crawled out from behind the couch. More room? More room? Rilshar nodded. Much more. Marcus threw his hands up. No more tests. No more antennas. No more glowing spheres. Rilshar looked confused. But I must understand human energy compatibility. You don't need to understand it. Marcus shouted. Humans don't do any of that. We're normal. Completely normal. Rilshar stared at him for a moment, silent. Then he said quietly, Human Marcus Hale. If humans were truly normal, the galaxy would not fear you. Marcus froze. Fear us? Rilshar looked down at the broken machine, his voice softer now. Your species spread across space faster than any other. You survive everything. You adapt to everything. You create stories of power because you already hold power. Many alien species worry humans will reshape the galaxy. Marcus opened his mouth to argue, then closed it. He had never thought about humanity that way. Rilshar continued. This is why I study your biology. Not to make new humans. Not to break rules. But to understand why you are so strong. Marcus stared at the alien scientist, and for the first time he felt something other than frustration. He felt sympathy. Rilshar wasn't dangerous because he wanted to be. He was dangerous because he was curious and lonely. Marcus sighed, rubbing his forehead. Okay, listen. If you want to study humans, fine. But you have to do it safely, slowly, and without trying to grow clones or explode the apartment. Rilshar nodded seriously. Understood. Marcus looked at the mess and exhaled. We'll clean this up. Then we can set new rules. Rilshar tilted his head. More rules? I enjoy rules. Marcus laughed weakly. Yeah, clearly. As they cleaned, neither of them noticed the faint shimmer in the air near the fallen gel tank. Something glowed beneath the spilled blue liquid, something that looked like a tiny, flickering silhouette, a shape that shouldn't exist, a shape born from yesterday's experiment, and it was growing. Marcus liked to think he was a patient guy, could handle late assignments, long lines, and even the occasional broken coffee machine. But nothing, absolutely nothing, had prepared him for living with an overly curious alien scientist. By the time he finished cleaning the living room, he felt like collapsing on the couch. Pieces of burned wood, melted plastic, and dried gel were scattered everywhere. Rilshar moved around with calm, precise motions, using a small levitation tool to lift broken parts into a container. But something still felt wrong. Marcus stood up, wiping sweat from his forehead. Rilshar, are you sure that blast didn't activate anything else? Rilshar paused. Activate. No, I shut down all energy pathways. Then why does it feel like something as Marcus stopped talking? The room suddenly felt colder. Not freezing, not icy, just wrong. A soft shimmer in the air caught Marcus's eye near the corner where a gel tank had spilled. First he thought it was just light reflecting off the goo. But then the shimmer moved. It moved like it was alive. Marcus took a step back. Rilshar, do you see that? The alien turned, eyes glowing softly. See what? That? Marcus pointed. The shimmer thickened, swirling in a strange rhythm, like a small fog gathering in one place. Then slowly, the fog formed into a shape that looked like a tiny, half-formed human silhouette. Rilshar stiffened. This is impossible. Marcus shook his head. Stop saying that, because every time you say that, something terrifying happens. The shimmering shape flickered, bending like a distorted projection. It was no taller than a small child, but it wasn't solid. Parts of it glowed while others drifted like smoke. And then it made a sound. A soft, broken whimper. Marcus's heart dropped. It can make noise. Rilshar stepped forward, scanning it with a device. The energy pattern matches the reactor from the first experiment and the biomatter from the gel tank. They combined. You mean this thing came from your machine and your goo? Orcs shouted. Rilshar nodded. Correct. We'll shut it down. Cannot shut it down, Rilshar said quietly. It is not a machine. It is alive. Marcus stared at the flickering creature. It was horrifying, but also strangely sad. It moved unsteadily, like it was trying to understand its own existence. It reached out a small, glowing hand toward Rilshar. Rilshar's three-tone voice softened. It is unstable. It will not survive long. Marcus swallowed hard. Then maybe we can help it. Rilshar blinked. Help it. You want to save it? It's alive, isn't it? Marcus said. It didn't ask to be created. Rilshar studied Marcus with a long, thoughtful silence. Humans truly are unusual. Most species would terminate a dangerous anomaly. Marcus stepped closer to the creature, careful not to touch it. Maybe humans are unusual, but that doesn't mean wrong. The creature tilted its head toward Marcus, flickering as if responding to his voice. Rilshar checked the readings again. Its energy is unstable. It is pulling power from everything around it. If it grows too much, it could break the dimensional balance. Marcus blinked. In simple English, please. It could tear open a small hole in reality. Marcus stared. Of course it could. Why wouldn't it? The creature trembled suddenly. A wave of energy pulsed out of it, knocking over a chair. Marcus jumped back. Okay, that's not good. Rilshar clicked rapidly on his datapad. We need to stabilize it before it destabilizes the room. If it collapses, the energy backlash could destroy this building. Marcus grabbed his hair. Why does everything you create want to destroy something? Unintended side effect, Rilshar replied calmly. Marcus glared. Stop being calm. Creature let out another broken whimper. The air around it bent, forming tiny cracks of light like glowing fractures. Marcus's fear shifted to determination. Okay, tell me what to do. Rilshar blinked. You want to assist? Yes. Before this apartment becomes a black hole? Rilshar nodded quickly. We must create a feedback loop to ground its energy. Something simple, something human-designed. Something that redirects unstable energy instead of amplifying it. Marcus looked around. Human-designed. Like what? You don't build dimensional stuff? Rilshar scanned the room. You're an engineer. Use your knowledge. Marcus ran to the small toolbox he kept near his room. He grabbed wires, clamps, and a thick metal wrench. Rilshar watched curiously. "A wrench?" Dalian asked. "Don't judge me. Humans fix half the universe with wrenches." Marcus knelt beside the creature. "Tell me what to connect," Rilshar pointed. "Attach the wire to the energy nodes forming around its core." "That glowy part that looks like a tiny sun?" Marcus asked. "Yes." Marcus hesitated. "And if I touch it wrong, you may evaporate." "Comforting," Marcus muttered. He carefully looped the wire around the brightest flickering part without making contact. The creature twitched but didn't attack. "Now what?" Marcus asked. "Ground the other end to a stable object." Marcus looked around and saw the metal pipe running along the wall. "That'll work." He clipped the wire to the pipe. The moment the connection was made, the creature pulsed once, twice, and then its flickering slowed. The glowing cracks in the air shrank. It wasn't stable yet, but it wasn't about to explode. Marcus let out a shaky breath. Okay, that worked." Rilshar looked genuinely impressed. "Your instinct is remarkable." Marcus wiped sweat from his forehead. "Human instinct is called desperation." The creature looked up at Marcus's glowing eyes, settling on him like it recognized him. Marcus whispered, "Hey, it's okay. You're going to be fine." Rilshar checked the readings again. "Its energy is stabilizing, but we must collapse its multidimensional imprint. If we do not, it may create more anomalies." Marcus frowned. "How do we do that?" Rilshar showed him the data pad. "We must shut down the energy loop manually. But if I do it alone, the energy might overwhelm the system." Marcus groaned. "So you need me, yes? Why do I always end up in life or death situations because of you?" "It is statistically consistent with your involvement," Rilshar replied. "That's not comforting?" Together, they approached the creature. It trembled, sensing the change. Marcus knelt again. "It's going to be okay," he whispered, even though he didn't fully believe it. Rilshar calibrated the collapsing field. "On my mark, disconnect the wrench." "This feels like a terrible idea." "It's the only idea," Rilshar replied. Marcus swallowed. "Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Marcus yanked the wrench away. A burst of white light erupted. Marcus fell backward. The creature let out a soft, almost peaceful sigh. Its glowing form folded inward, shrinking and compressing, until finally it vanished in a tiny swirl of light. Silence. Marcus lay on the floor, staring at the ceiling. "Is it over?" Rilshar checked his datapad. "Yes, the anomaly successfully collapsed. The creature is gone." Marcus felt both relieved and sad. Poor thing. It never even had a chance. Rilshar nodded slowly. "It was not meant to exist. But your compassion toward it was notable." Marcus sat up. "So, what happens now?" Rilshar looked around the ruined room. "Now, human Marcus Hale, the Interstellar Ethics Council will be alerted. They monitor dimensional disturbances. They will want answers." Marcus groaned loudly. "Oh, great. Alien government trouble. Just what I needed." Rilshar placed a hand over his chest. "I will take responsibility. You risked your life to fix my mistake. I'll make sure they know that." Marcus stared at the mess again. His life had gone from normal student stress to preventing accidental universe breakage. And worse. This was only day 2. Marcus woke the next morning with a headache that felt like someone had knocked him with a metal pipe. For a few seconds, he didn't even remember where he was. Then he opened his eyes, saw the half-burned ceiling, the patches of melted carpet, and the faint smell of alien gel. Right. He remembered everything. The unstable clone. The energy explosion. Rilshar's safety experiment turning into the opposite of safe. Marcus groaned, pulling himself up. "Please tell me today will be normal." A low chime rang through the apartment. Marcus froze. Rilshar walked out from the kitchen area, holding a steaming cup of something glowing purple. "Human Marcus Hale, you are awake." "Excellent. We have visitors." Marcus rubbed his eyes. "Visitors?" "It's 7 in the morning," yes, Rilshar said calmly. "The Interstellar Ethics Council has arrived." Marcus dropped his pillow. "Say that again?" The Ethics Council, a fourth chime rang, deeper and more commanding. Marcus jumped to his feet. You didn't tell me they would come today? Rilshar tilted his head. Their timing is unpredictable, but we must greet them. If we do not answer the door, they will enter by force. Marcus's heart pounded. By force. Rilshar nodded. Yes, with legal permission. And large weapons? Marcus felt his stomach drop. Okay, what do they want? Rilshar's voice grew serious. They detected the dimensional distortion from yesterday. They believe someone broke interspecies law. Specifically, me. Before Marcus could respond, the door slid open automatically. 3 figures entered the apartment. Marcus took a step back, nearly tripping over the damaged carpet. These were not normal aliens. They were council officials, tall, robed, glowing with an authority Marcus could feel in his bones. The one in front was a blue-skinned being with 4 eyes and a voice that vibrated the walls. Resident Rilshar, human Marcus. Hal, you stand accused of unauthorized biological manipulation and dimensional interference. Marcus choked. Accused? Me? I didn't do anything. The council leader turned his 4 eyes toward Marcus. You were involved, Marcus whispered. I want to go home. Rilshar stepped forward, placing one hand over his chest. His voice dropped to a respectful tone. Esteemed counselors, I take full responsibility for all actions. Human Marcus Hale is innocent. Another counselor, a tall avian creature with shimmering feathers, studied the wrecked room. This apartment shows signs of unstable energy and failed breeding experiments. The evidence is clear. Marcus jumped. Hey, it wasn't a breeding experiment. I mean, it kind of was, but not the human kind. Not the illegal kind. Not any kind? The leader lifted a hand, and silence filled the room. Rilshar, he said slowly, you know the laws. No sentient species may attempt to create, alter, or replicate another sentient species. You violated this rule. Rilshar lowered his head but did not step back. Yes, but my intention was peaceful. I sought knowledge, not danger. The feathered counselor's eyes flashed. Intention does not erase consequence. Marcus stepped forward. Hold on, Rilshar. Didn't mean to break anything. He's just curious. Too curious. And a little bit chaotic. And very bad at safety. But he wasn't trying to hurt anyone. The leader turned his gaze toward Marcus again. Why would a human defend him? Your kind usually responds to danger with aggression. Marcus flinched. Well, humans aren't always like that. And besides, I live here too. If he's in trouble, then we're both in trouble. The 3 counselors looked at one another, whispering in a language Marcus didn't know. The feathered one spoke next. Then you, human Marcus Hale, will also speak at the tribunal. Your testimony will decide if Rilshar is to be punished. Marcus's stomach twisted. Punished. How punished? The leader answered, decommissioning. Marcus's face went pale. Decommissioning? Like firing him? No, the leader said calmly. Removing his research license, erasing his scientific identity, and relocating him to a non-research environment for the rest of his life, Marcus whispered, horrified. That's awful. Rilshar bowed his head. I accept your judgment. No. Marcus shouted, surprising even himself. You can't just accept it. Rilshar slowly turned toward him. Human Marcus Hale, this is the law. Don't care! You're not some evil scientist. You're just a confused alien who reads too many human comics and watches too many bad movies. One of the counselors raised an eyebrow. Bad movies. Marcus nodded strongly. Yes. He thinks humans regenerate limbs because of action films. He thinks hair can grow a new person. He thinks humans can warp reality. The leader stared. Hair cannot grow a new human. No, Marcus yelled. Not even close. Rilshar whispered. But your fictional heroes, they're fictional. The counselors exchanged confused glances. Marcus continued, breathless. Look, he messed up, okay? A lot. And I got almost killed 3 times in 2 days. But he's not dangerous on purpose. He's just trying to understand us. The feathered alien folded its wings slightly. Why would a human of your species defend an alien who endangered your life? Marcus took a deep breath. Because that's what humans do. We try to help. We try to fix things. Even when it's hard. Even when it's scary. That's who we are. Silence. Even Rilshar stared at him, surprised. Marcus continued softly. And Rilshar isn't a bad guy. He just made mistakes. Big mistakes. But he doesn't deserve to lose everything because of them. The leader considered his words. Human compassion is unusual. Marcus shrugged weakly. Yeah, we're weird. The feathered counselor stepped forward. Very well. The tribunal will hear your testimony. But understand this: many species fear humans. If you defend this alien, you defend your entire kind. Marcus suddenly felt the weight of galaxies on his shoulders, but he nodded anyway. I'll be there. The leader raised an arm. The room glowed briefly. The tribunal begins in 1-star cycle. You will both attend. And with that, the counselors turned and walked out of the apartment. The door closing behind them, Marcus collapsed onto the couch. I'm going to faint. Rilshar sat next to him, folding his long limbs neatly. Human Marcus Hale. Your defense of me was unexpected. Marcus rubbed his eyes. Yeah, while someone had to say something, you risked great consequence, Rilshar said. If the council blames you instead of saving me, you may be expelled from this planet's exchange program. Wait, they can kick me out of the entire program? Yes, Rilshar said calmly. Possibly even off this planet. Marcus fell back dramatically. Great, wonderful. I'm doomed. Rilshar placed one of his hands on Marcus's shoulder gently. You showed courage. You defended a being not of your species. This is rare. Even noble. Noble won't help if I get thrown into space. Rilshar tilted his head. But thank you. The apartment fell silent for a moment. Then Marcus took a deep breath. We have one day to convince a whole galaxy that you're not a danger. We need a plan. Rilshar nodded. A plan. Yes. I enjoy plans. Marcus stared at him. And no experiments. Rilshar paused, then nodded. Agreed. But as they talked, neither of them noticed a small ripple of leftover energy flicker in the damaged corner of the room quiet. Tiny, almost invisible. Something from the clone experiment had not fully disappeared, and it listened. The next morning arrived too fast. Marcus woke up with a heavy feeling in his chest. Today was the tribunal. Today he had to stand in front of the Interstellar Ethics Council, the most powerful decision-makers in the galaxy, and defend Rilshar. He sat on the edge of his bed, rubbing his face. Why does saving someone always feel like doom? Rilshar stood by the door, already dressed in his formal robes. Human Marcus Hale, your biological state appears tense. Marcus stared. I'm nervous. And stressed. And terrified. Mostly terrified. Rilshar blinked calmly. Do not be afraid. If they punish me, I will accept it. Marcus jumped up. No. We are going to win. We have to win. Rilshar tilted his head. Because you believe in me? Marcus sighed. Because I don't want to lose my roommate. And because you don't deserve to be erased for a stupid mistake. Rilshar placed one hand over his heart. Then we will face the tribunal together. Before they left, Marcus looked around the apartment. Broken walls. Scorch marks. The weird shimmer in the corner actually? Wait. Marcus blinked. Is that corner? Glowing. Rilshar followed his gaze. Strange. That energy should not still exist. The corner pulsed softly, like something breathing. Marcus stepped back. Whatever that is, we don't have time for it. If the council sees it, we're already doomed. Ashar reluctantly nodded. We will inspect it later. Both grabbed their identification cards, stepped outside, and began the quiet walk toward the tribunal hall. The tribunal hall, the building looked nothing like human courts. It floated above the ground like a huge shimmering crystal. Alien shapes carved into its surface glowed with soft light. Hundreds of species moved around it, some tall, some tiny, some floating. Marcus whispered. Okay. Don't panic. Don't faint. Rilshar placed a hand on his shoulder. You are capable. Inside, a massive circular chamber waited. The counselors stood on raised platforms, each glowing differently. The air itself felt heavy, like it carried the weight of every law in the galaxy. The leader spoke. Begin the tribunal. Marcus swallowed. Here we go. The charge as the feathered counselor unfolded its wings. Rilshar, you performed an unauthorized biological experiment. Evidence shows a dimensional rupture and near destruction of your living space. Your actions endangered a human. Do you dispute these charges? Rilshar lowered his head. No, the charges are correct. A deep murmur filled the hall. Marcus whispered harshly, You're supposed to defend yourself. Rilshar whispered back, I will not lie. The leader turned toward Marcus. Human Marcus Hale, you were the witness. You may speak. Marcus stepped forward into the center platform. His hand shook, but his voice tried to stay steady. My name is Marcus Hale, and yeah, everything that happened was dangerous. I got scared. The clone almost exploded. The apartment almost melted. It was a disaster. A wave of murmurs. But listen, Marcus continued. Rilshar didn't do any of it to harm me. He wasn't trying to break the law. He just misunderstood humans. He thinks humans are stronger than we are because of our movies and stories. The leader raised a brow. So this alien acted out of ignorance? Marcus nodded. Yes, in curiosity. He wanted to learn, not destroy. The feathered counselor spoke. Ignorance is still dangerous. Marcus took a breath. Then teach him. Don't erase him. The entire hall fell silent. Marcus continued with more confidence. Look, humans have a saying, we learn by making mistakes. And yeah, his mistake was big. Huge. Galactic level. Huge. But he didn't hide it. He didn't run. He didn't try to blame me. He accepted everything. Marcus gestured at Rilshar. Anyone who accepts responsibility deserves a second chance. The leader stared deeply at Marcus. And why do you, a human, defend him so fully? Marcus hesitated, then answered honestly, because he cared about me even when he was confused, because he tried to protect me yesterday, because he apologized even when he didn't have to, and because he's my friend, whispers, spread like ripples across the entire hall. A human calling an alien friend was rare. Very rare. The leader raised a hand, silencing the room. Your words are strong, Marcus Hale, but testimony alone is not enough. We must confirm the risk level of Rilshar's actions. The feathered counselor tapped a glowing pad. We will send inspectors to your shared home to examine the leftover energy. Marcus froze. Rilshar froze. Both shouted at the same time. The hall went silent. The leader narrowed his 4 eyes. Is there something left in your home that we should know about? Marcus's heart pounded. Rilshar glanced at him. Marcus whispered, should we tell them? Rilshar whispered back, if we lie, punishment is worse. Marcus gulped and turned to the council. There is a small energy remnant. We don't know what it is yet, but it's harmless. Probably harmless. Mostly harmless. The leader did not look convinced. Send the inspection team. The inspection moments later, a live hologram appeared in the center of the tribunal, showing the inspectors entering Marcus and Rilshar's apartment. They scanned the room, stopped at the glowing corner, and the energy suddenly pulsed. Marcus muttered, uh-oh. The inspectors stepped back. The corner grew brighter. A small shape flickered inside it. Almost like a miniature version of the unstable clone, but smaller, weaker, and struggling to stay formed. The feathered counselor gasped. A dimensional echo. Marcus blinked. A what? Rilshar whispered, horrified, a leftover piece of the experiment. But it is unstable. It will collapse. As they watched, the echo flickered violently. Marcus shouted at the hologram, even though they couldn't hear him. Move, get away from it. The echo pulsed again, then collapsed in on itself. A flash. A shockwave. The inspectors stumbled but stayed safe. The echo vanished into nothing, Silence filled the tribunal chamber. The leader turned, back toward Marcus and Rilshar. This proves the danger was real. The experiment could have spread dimensional instability. Rilshar lowered his head. I take responsibility. Marcus stepped forward. Please, don't end him. He learned his lesson. I swear he'll never do risky stuff again. The feathered counselor stared at both of them. Human Marcus Hale, you have spoken bravely. Your honesty is unusual among many species, and your loyalty to this alien carries weight. The leader slowly nodded. Very well. We have reached a decision. Marcus held his breath. Rilshar held all four of his. The leader announced. Rilshar will not be decommissioned. Marcus almost collapsed from relief, but the leader continued. He will receive a strict penalty.
What?
Marcus swallowed. What penalty? The leader looked directly at Rilshar. You are forbidden from conducting biological experiments for the next 10 cycles. Oh, Rilshar blinked. 10 cycles, that is? A long time. And the leader added, you must attend mandatory training on human biology from certified experts. Marcus's jaw dropped. Way too mean. You're sending him to school? Yes, the leader said. We must ensure he stops learning biology from movies. Rilshar placed a hand on his chest. I accept this judgment. The leader nodded. Then the case is closed. A deep, echoing chime filled the hall. Marcus finally exhaled. We did it. Rilshar gently touched Marcus's shoulder. Human Marcus Hale. Thank you. Without you, I would have lost everything. Marcus smiled tiredly. What are friends for? Rilshar asked. Are humans always this loyal? Marcus shrugged. Only the good ones. They walked out of the tribunal hall together, both tired but relieved, and as they stepped into the bright alien sunlight, Marcus said with a grin, Okay for the next 10 cycles. No experiments. Rilshar nodded seriously. Agreed, Marcus added. And no clones. Agreed. No dimensional distortions. Agreed. And no Rilshar raised a hand. Human Marcus Hale. I understand. Good. Their strange friendship had survived the galaxy's judgment, and somehow this adventure had only made them closer.